Good morning. You're watching Ask Profit. I'm Smriti Chaudhary, and this show is all about your stock-related queries. You can write to us on any of our social media channels, or on the YouTube live chat, or on the WhatsApp number that'll be on your screen. But before we dive into the questions or the focus of the day, let's quickly take a check on where the markets are currently at. We have the Nifty 50 that's up over 1%, a good day for the markets after seeing a couple of weak days. It's trading at about over 22,200 levels. If you look at the chart of the day, it's constantly been going up, so we're close to the high point of the day. Let's also look at the contributors in the Nifty 50 and see what's pulling the index higher. We have the likes of ICICI Bank, L&T, HDFC Bank and RIL that are contributing the highest in the index, and we have Infi, HCL Tech that are kind of pulling are in the red, but nothing to complain there. A good day definitely for the markets. If you look at the broader indices, we have the Nifty mid-cap index that's up about 0.5%, so it's trailing the benchmark indices. If you look at the small cap index, that's also up about 0.5% in trade. Let's also pull up the market breadth. It's and where we're currently at. There you can see it's clearly in the favor of the advances today, and that has been the case since morning. So a decently good day for the markets. It's around and let's look at some of the contributors to the Nifty mid-cap as well. We have the likes of SAIL that's up about 6%, 6.5% in trade. Vodafone up today after seeing weakness for the last 2 days, up over 4.5%. We have the likes of PFC and REC that are also up over 3% as we speak. However, the focus for today is Suven Pharmaceuticals. That's up in trade at around 8% as we speak, and that is on the back of the merger that they've announced. They are going to merge with Cohance Life Sciences, and if you look at the details of the merger, the transaction will conclude in the next 12 to 15 months. And the swap that they've given is every shareholder holding 11 shares will get 295 shares of Cohance. Now, the rationale behind this is to enhance their capacity and also create a diversified CDMO business, and the markets are liking the announcement. The key outcome expected from this merger is it'll be a double-digit EPS accretive from first year itself. So that's quite big in terms of what's going to come out of this merger. The ROCE will also be seen at 30%. Now, on that note, let me introduce you to our guests for today. We have Rohan Mehta of Turtle Wealth and Kunal Rambia of The Street joining in. Thank you to both of you, and we'll quickly dive into the focus. Now, Rohan, Suven Pharma, a big announcement there. The Street has taken very positively to it. From a longer term perspective, what do you think this will look for the shareholders?
Yeah, if you see the Suven, when I was seeing the whole the thing which was happening, if you see it was a very muted performance from last 2020 till today, and this would be a key catalyst for a turnaround story into the company, and very positive for it. And I think so. What if you see also that this company has been into a structural range from again 4 to 5 years, and that is again going to break, and this is where the turnaround you find it. So Suven could be a very big contender of turnaround with a profit expectation of 650 crores roughly in FY 25-26.
Suggest entering at this juncture. The stock is up about 8% as we speak, Rohan.
Sorry? Yeah,
Would you suggest buying?
Yeah, I think so. It's a good time. We had seen a bit of good correction in the stock for a shorter period of time. I think so. It's a good juncture for getting along in the stock, and wait for a 1 to 2 years, because there can be as you rightly told, a return capital employed. We may see some great enhancement in the profitability also.
Now let's quickly dive into the questions. The first one's from Arvind Prajapati He's talking about Patanjali Foods. He's bought the shares at 965 a piece. The share is currently trading over 1500 rupees. Kunal, let's take a technical check on this one. How does it look on the charts, Patanjali Foods?
Hi, very good morning to all of you. So, if I look at the overall formation on the Patanjali chart, see, it's been December so far. This counter has consistently taken the support at around 1500 levels, and it's been almost 6 to 7 times it has bounced from the same level itself. But at the same time, on the higher side, we can see 1650 to 700 kind of level being the resistance. So, at this point in time, I would advise our viewer to stay hold on to this counter with the trailing stop loss of around 1500. If the counter manages to break that level, then we'll have to take an exit. But otherwise, this entire the journey which we have seen from the extreme low level so far might just continue even on the higher side. So hold on with the stop loss of 1500 as of now.
All right, understood. Next up, we have a question from Shri Kishore Sharma from Bihar. They're talking about Asian Paints that they've bought at 3,100 a piece. The current market price is slightly below that. Rohan, now in the paints business, a giant like Grasim has entered. What kind of impact do you see from a longer term perspective on Asian Paints?
You see, Asian Paints is the greatest, right? We don't have to, debate on it. But greatest can be paid to this value, seeing the growth, because there has been a stiff competition which will come from, bigger players. We've seen a lot of players, inclusive of, as you told, Grassel. We believe that in this point of time where the capex is growing and the growth is there. See, we are into the market of high growth, flat interest rate, a good interest rate, and decent inflation. So rather, I would go for an investor, look forward for a different stories than invest into Asian Paints. If you are a typical person where you don't see ke haan 10 saal, 10 years, nothing will, I don't care, then it's still okay. But as a performer, I don't think the Asian Paints still will take 1 2 years to cool off their earnings, and then the trajectory will start.
All right, right. Next up, Rohan, we're going to talk about a news that came yesterday on hospitals. And this question is from Babu, and he's specifically talking about Apollo Hospital. We saw the stock tanks yesterday and today as well. We're seeing because of that judgment where the Supreme Court has directed the central government to look into the rates of the procedures that these hospitals charge. Otherwise, they will put CGHS rates on these hospitals, and we're seeing that impact on the stocks as well. Now, specifically about Apollo Hospitals, first talk to us what impact this is going to have on hospitals, and specifically about Apollo Hospitals after that.
Yeah, see, well, we have always been in our portfolios. We have never have been very, positive onto hospitals because of this specific issue. And in the global space, we have seen this, where the rates are being curbed because healthcare is one of a very important part of a government agenda, and that's what we are seeing in India also. And our healthcare was specifically not very costly, but over the period post-COVID, the thing has done a U-turn. So in that space, we need to again see that what government intervention will be done on the private space, on the public space. So on that still the things looks gloomy. So for the time being, I think so it's a part to wait and watch, being neutral. It's a great business, Apollo Hospital. There's no doubt about it. But I think so onto that space currently at this valuation, if anything goes a bit of negative, you will see a steep correction. So if you're holding, you can hold on, but new buying is not recommended.
Next up, we are talking about CAMS. This is from Vinod, and they bought the shares at 2,800 a piece. Kunal, now they say they bought it from the purpose of swing trade, but they're still holding on to it. So, what kind of prospects do you see for the stock in the next couple of months?
So now, if you look at the overall trend which emerged from May 2023, where the counter was trading at around 2000 levels, and right now it's at 3125. There were multiple swings in between. And what is the bad part about this counter is that the swings are very, very high. So this counter should not be actually taken for swing, but rather should be taken for trending trade. This trend is definitely very much intact. Definitely hold on to this position. The trailing stop loss on this can now be 3000, and the targets can be as high as 3800 to 3850. So if viewer is comfortable holding for a little long period of time with the trailing stop loss of 3 down 1000, one can certainly hold on to it. If someone wants to take the fresh entry, can also consider this counter.
All right. We'll now talk about Yes Bank, and this is a popular question, Rohan and Kunal, and we'll take both a fundamental and technical check on this one. A lot of people are holding on to Yes Bank, and one of our viewers, Mohit, bought the shares at around 13 rupees a piece. Their time horizon is 1 year in the space, but because we have got so many questions around this, let's talk about the longer term perspective of the stock. Now, from a price point of view, Rohan, the stock has doubled from the buy price at which Mohit bought. Would you suggest holding on to it? Is there more upside in the longer term?
Ma'am, I don't track the company honestly. I
All right.
am, yeah, I don't track it. So I can give you an alternative for it, but I can't say about yes.
Okay, and what's the alternative that you'd suggest?
I think so. It's a great thing. See, Yes Bank also, is wasn't hold much by SBI, right? So you eventually SBI is one of the contender of the other. So I would tell that SBI is a great value with a great balance sheet, and it is consistently outperforming Nifty 500. And also, you please understand that this is a habit of buying something which is very cheap is not a great habit for an investor. Just because the stock is into double digit or has been cracked down 90%, rather than buying a healthy balance sheet which the company is doing good is the right habit. So I would recommend not for a profit and loss, but putting a right habit for buying the right companies.
Very well said, Rohan. Let's take it across to Kunal. Kunal, Mohit is sitting on a profit, a considerable profit there. Would you suggest exiting at this point, or would you suggest holding on to it?
So this is one of the counters which can certainly be taken from swing trading point of view. The only reason being whenever the swing emerges, this counter gives really good returns in very short period of time. Again, it goes into sideways negative consolidation and continues because our viewer is already holding. So let me just share one level which is 25.25. If the counter manages to go about 25.25, I think we can see the previous high which is at around 32. And if that level is taken out, again, the targets can be as high as 36. So for time being, certainly hold on to the position with the trailing stop loss at around 23.25. Fresh entry about 25.25 with the target as 32 and 35.
All right, got it. Let's talk about Indus Towers. This one's from Mr. Ansari. Now, Rohan, we've heard about the announcement that Vodafone came out and the fundraise. However, the stock has taken a knock after that. It's up in trade today. But Indus Towers is set to gain if the fundraise goes through. So for an investor who's holding on to it, is it a good long-term bet?
Yeah, see, what has happened is that considerably somewhere something, if the company is doing good, then the valuation is a constraint. Then if something company is not doing good, then the growth story comes into the picture. I think so. This is a very much probable of a contender of a turnaround. But how much time you have to invest, because return on time invested is also a very big factor. That's something which we cannot say. But if you're an investor, I think so. There's nothing to lose much on this price, but for a growth investor, I believe still it's the time. So if you have invested, be there. There is nothing too much to lose at this piece of valuation.
Quickly dive into the questions. This one's from Lavish from Indore, and this is for you, Kunal. We have two stocks that we're talking about. He's bought both of them. One is Borosil Renewables at 520 with a target of 1 year, and Anmol India at 61 rupees a piece. What levels should you watch out for in these two stocks?
See, on the Borosil Renewable, I'm very bullish. The entire downtrend consolidation was taken out first on 3rd of January, and since then, this counter is making a clear higher top, higher bottom. In fact, after yesterday's announcement on the solar business, again, this counter was in limelight, and this counter spiked from almost 515 to 570 levels. From the positional point of view, certainly one can stay invested. Now, the trailing stop loss on this can be 525, and the targets can be as high as 625 to 630 in the near term. And the second counter, can you please repeat the name?
It was Anmol.
Anmol India.
Yes.
Now, Anmol India, I'm just seeing this chart for the very first time. You can see the recent downtrend consolidation, and the counter is hovering at around 55. It's almost tired kind of counter. If our investor is comfortable, he can switch over to some other counter, and by exiting this Anmol. At this point in time, I don't think there is much momentum left in this, unless and until it manages to cross 58, 59 on the higher side.
All right, understood. Next up, we're talking about IRCTC. This one's from Priya. She says she's bought the stock at elevated levels of 959 a piece. Let's pull up the chart and see what it is doing today. IRCTC, if we can. Okay. Let me pull up and see where it's okay. It's currently not doing much in trade today, around the same levels that she bought at, slightly below actually. And Rohan, now for somebody who has bought the stock at such elevated levels, would you suggest holding on to something like an IRCTC? We have already seen quite a run up in these in these PSU stocks, especially the railway stocks.
Yeah, but if you see IRCTC into a different juncture, if you see that then in 2021, this is like fourth year, IRCTC has been in a structural range. Just because I'll tell you, being an former investor of the company, at that time the valuation was extremely high, about 100 times of valuation, and today it has been eased down at 65 times, and still 1 2 quarter it will ease down to 50 times. With this monopoly, it's a great, great buy. Now we will see some great things. What we are seeing overall to the manufacturing. Sorry, overall to the making of the railway thing. I think so IRCT is a great buy and should be hold for a longer period of time.
All right, understood. Next up, we have a question from Shiv Shankar from Bangalore. They're talking about Jio Finance. Now, from a shorter, I'm not sure if this is for the longer term, but let's take a short-term view on Jio Finance. Kunal, how does it look on the charts, and what are the key levels that you should watch out for, especially for somebody who's already bought into the stock?
So, again, this counter is forming the curve formation, and the first breakout came at around 260. And since then, this counter has consistently made higher top, higher bottoms. And look at the volumes, they're mind blowing. In fact, on every decline, there is a buying opportunity as of now. So, one can certainly hold on to it if someone is willing to fresh enter the counter with the stop loss of 305. One can still think of investing in this counter till the time this counter continues the uptrend. Just keep trailing the stop loss. So to our viewer, it's advisable to hold on with the stop loss of 305 as the counter keeps moving forward. Keep trailing the stop loss and hold the position.
Right, understood. Next up, we have a question from Harshvardhan. And Rohan, I hope you have this stock under your coverage. This is AU Small Finance Bank. They've bought the shares at 580 a piece. What are the long-term prospects for the bank?
I've not been very closely watching the company, but whatever I have been knowing, I think so there's been structurally some issues in the bank which we're not, very comfortable with NPA and the growth factor. The company is making a decent growth, and price to book is also it's okay, like 3.4 times to the small bank. But there has been some issues which we are not comfortable onto the NPA side. That's the reason we've not been very bullish onto it. So rather, I would say in a very different way that there are certain banks like Credit Access, Grameen, Home First into NBFC, which are available at a better quality ratio, but better valuation than AIM Bank.
Understood. Next up, we're talking about TCI Express. Now, this one's from Brind Pal from Delhi. Kunal, this one's for you. They've bought the shares at 1500 a piece, and Cabra also, that they've bought at 475. What are the levels that you should watch out for, and any targets that you have on these two stocks?
So, TCI Express, what I can see on the chart is from 1700. This counter has clearly been in downtrend. And if you look at the overall journey, not even a single higher top, higher bottom within this entire decline. As of now, it's trading at around 1140 levels, but still, there is no ray of hope on the recovery or revival as such because the counter is not showing any positive sign. So, because now he has already stayed invested for a pretty long period of time, I can just share one of the support levels, which is at around 1025. If the counter reaches that 1025 mark and consolidates, and then these are all conditional things, and if at all it recovers from that level,
right,
advisable to revisit to our channel and come back so we can share some better view again on this.
All right, Kunal, now just interrupting you here because we can see Nifty has hit a fresh high today. It's up 1.5%. It's trading at about 22,200, very close to 300, just shy of 2-3 points of 22,300 levels. And if let's pull up the contributors as well and see What's pulling the index higher today? Yes, we have ICICI Bank, RIL and L&T. We have the likes of Tata Steel that's up 5% in trade, JSW Steel as well 5% up. There's L&T about 3.5% or thereabouts. BPCL, Titan both up over 3%. However, there are a couple of losers also on the index. Not much happening there. If you look at Cipla, that's down about 0.8%. Britannia down about 0.7% as well. HCL Tech and LTI Mindtree, a little bit of a weakness in these two tech stocks as well, down about 0.5%. Let's also take a look at where the broader markets are at. If we can pull up the Nifty 150 mid cap index, that's also up about 0.6%, close to 18,000 levels as well. Small cap also up about 0.5% as we speak. All in all, a good day after seeing a couple of weakness in the markets in the last two to 3 days. And if you can also see what's pulling the mid cap, let's see what stocks are moving at the broader end. Can we have the Nifty mid cap contributors? Yes, we have SAIL. We spoke about that earlier as well. It's up over 6%. Vodafone also up over 4% in trade. There's PFC about over 3% in trade as we speak. So a life high for Nifty 50 again today. Thank you so much, Rohan and Kunal, for joining and for answering so many questions for us. And viewers, if we were not able to take your questions today, we'll definitely try and take them on Monday. So come back, join us at 11:30 a.m. But don't go anywhere right now. We have a lot more lined up on NDTV Profit. Stay tuned.